Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I hope you all are doing well. I am Diksha Onyal from the customer engagement team of Zoho Books, and I welcome you all to today's session on analysis and impact of tax and GST proposal for Indian businesses. Let me introduce you all to the co-trainers and speakers of today's webinar. Today's webinar will be led by tax expert Mr. C.A. Bimal Jain. We also have Mrs. Sindhuja Santosh with us today, who leads the customer success team of Zoho Books, premium support team, and the partner product support team of India. We also have Mr. Sami here, who's the product marketer of Zoho Books. Let me start off by giving a brief introduction of CA Bimal Jain. Mr. Bimal is a member of Institute of Chartered Accountant of India since May 1994 and member of Institute of Company Secretaries of India since December 2006, along with a bachelor's degree in law. He has also more than 21 years of experience in indirect taxation and specializes in all aspects of goods and service tax, value added tax, central sales tax, customs, foreign trade policy, special economic zone, and in export import laws. He has working experience of more than 18 years in renowned companies like LG Electronics India Private Limited, Honda Motorcycle and Scooters India Private Limited, Hindustan Development Corporation Limited, and presently he is executive director of A to Z Tax Corp LLP, a boutique indirect tax firm. He is also the chairman of Indirect Tax Committee of PhD Chamber of Commerce and a member of eminent faculties in Indirect Tax Committee of ICAI, ICSI, ICMA. He has also been a keynote speaker at Guinness World Record made by ICSI in the largest taxation Bimal Jain lesson on GST, attended by 4,500 participants, breaking earlier record of Japan. So I welcome you, Mr. Bimal Jain, and thank you so much for coming here today and for interacting and sharing your expertise with our Zoho Books community. Now, before I hand over the session to Mr. Bimal Jain, I would like to briefly walk you all through the webinar platform. As you can see on the left-hand side, you will be able to see that there are two options available. One is a chat bar, and the other is the questions tab. You can use the chat option to drop your thoughts and interact with us and with the fellow attendees. And in the question tab, you can drop your questions related to the webinar. We are using the webinar platform that we're using today is Zoho Showtime, a comprehensive solution for training businesses through which users can deliver virtual classroom and on-demand training. Um, Again, I want to repeat once again, we request you all to use the questions tab to ask your questions and not the chat box, because the questions tab will help us keep track of all your doubts and answer them one by one. So without any further ado, I hand over the session to Mr. Bimal Jain. The stage is all yours, sir.
At the outset, let me thanks Zoho team for organizing this webinar, important webinar for analysis and impact of tax and GST proposal for Indian businesses. This Union Budget 2022, I'm going to discuss for an hour time with all of you, and you all are free to post your queries in a questions tab. We will try to answer your as many questions as being posted. Let me start. My today's presentation would be focusing on what are the proposal in Union Budget 2022 impacting Indian businesses. From direct tax perspective, if you look at individual taxation, personal income tax, there is dissatisfaction. For the region, that salaried class was looking for some benefit of standard deduction to be increased from 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees. And there was specific COVID-19 allowances because a lot of us are working from home. Even I'm doing this program at the moment from my home residence. So we are incurring a lot of internet charges, electricity charges, laptop, furniture, fixtures. We were expecting some specific allowance for working from home. Nothing is being announced in this regard. Going forward, if you look at ATC, that deduction we get And this ATC reduction threshold amount is 1.5 lakh rupees. And it is more than 10 years the same 1.5 lakh is continuing, including if you look at the inflation which is going on year basis. This 1.5 lakh we were expecting would be increased to 3 lakh rupees. And this 1.5 lakh contain LIC, PPF, PF, NSC, tuition fees, and even repayment of housing loan principal amount is too less a number. And individual was expecting that is going to be increased to 3 lakh rupees. Nothing is being announced on this front as well. Coming to ATD Mediclaim insurance, you know that the amount specified is 25,000 for individual and for senior citizen 50,000 rupees. COVID-19 last 2 years we have seen the exigencies and medical need. So this threshold of 25,000 and 50,000 for senior citizen, it was expected that this would be increased to 50,000 and 1 lakh for senior citizen, because this amount is going to decide the threshold amount for claiming reimbursement from the insurance company. Alongside, I would like to draw your attention, even GST on health insurance as on date is 18%. So this is too high, 18% GST rate for taking health insurance. This would have been reduced to 5% to make it affordable for the Aam Aadmi. If you go back to housing for all, what is the need as on date? First, the definition of housing, affordable housing. 45 lakh rupees is the threshold amount when we look at tier 1 cities, which is too less a number. And then income tax interest, when you're taking housing loan and you are paying interest threshold is 2 lakh rupees. It was expected to be 3 lakh rupees. Nothing is being done in this regard. And principal, I've told you that is a part of ATC for principal repayment, including LIC, PPF, PF, NSC, tuition fees. Too less a number. It was expected. So from individual perspective, if you look at this budget, Union Budget 2022, yes, there is dissatisfaction. To my mind, if some exemption, even that you look at the taxable slab, which is 2.5 lakh rupees for last 4-5 years, this could have been increased to 3 lakh or 4 lakh rupees. And there is one discussion with the old taxation system versus new taxation system. That may be my proposal should have been made on same page. There are few takers who are not taking new taxation slab. For the region, there is no deduction, no exemption, no benefit. And even the old taxation system, the rate is 5% when it is up to 5 lakh rupees. But up to 5 lakh rupees, there is a rebate, so no taxation. But if it is increased beyond 1 rupee, 5 lakh 1 rupee, it would be 5% up to 5 lakh, then 20% up to 10 lakh, then 30% over and above 10 lakh rupees. They should have, even our Honourable Finance Minister could have given a thought to it, that this would have been increased to little bit to leave disposable income in the hands of individual. And what happened with disposable income? He's going to expense for the purchase of goods or services, and thereby GST got collected by the government. So holistic approach, multiplier effect, leaving disposable income will increase the demand, consumption. Then corresponding taxes will go back in the hands of government. But on personal and individual front, this year budget, they are not happy about it. Having said that, this year budget is mainly focusing on growth orientation, way forward. 2025, we all are talking about, we will have, by 2025, we will have $5 trillion economy. That's what we are talking about. And that is the region this year budget mainly focusing on growth, support to manufacturing sector, service sector, startup. Lot of funding is being provided to important sector for the growth orientation. And GDP, as given in our economic survey, It's going to be 8.5% and way forward 9.2%. So this year budget could have been populist budget because there are election in the 5 states. But I must compliment our Honourable Finance Minister. Instead of populist budget, she has given a budget which is growth oriented, giving boost to the manufacturing sector, giving boost to our GDP. How it is possible? Listen those proposal. Proposal number 2, that any startup in India, and if you look at a startup in India, we are at third place when we look at global map after China and US. So we are a third place for startup in India. And for startup, there is increase of 1 year. Earlier, there were three, this exemption under income tax was going to expire on 31st March 2022. Now it is being increased by further 1 year, 31st March 2023. So 3 year exemption out of 10 year for the startup. This 1 year got expended. Coming to the manufacturing unit, you know that the special income tax rate is 15%. And if you start your manufacturing unit after 1st October 2019 till 31st March 2023, now this 2023 is increased by further 1 year for the simple reason you may not have started your manufacturing production. For that reason, 1 year got extended from 31st March 2023 to 31st March 2024. Now, when we are talking about manufacturing from income indirect tax perspective, there's the one good proposal, rationalization of basic custom duty on raw material, components and parts to boost Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India, for MSME sector, for domestic manufacturing. So raw material which is not available in India, government has rationalized the basic custom duty either by reducing the basic custom duty rate or providing exemption on such raw material input and components which is going to be used for domestic manufacturing. And with this proposal, first of all, it is boost to Make in India for MSME sector, Atmanirbhar Bharat. It is going to provide a effect of positivity in cost competitiveness. What happened? Whatever basic custom duty we pay on raw material, credit is not available. So if this is reduced, basic custom duty reduced or exempted, cost competitiveness will come in our overall costing and pricing of goods manufactured, domestically manufactured in India. Additionally, when you're manufacturing in India, you will not import finished goods, and thereby you will reduce outflow of convertible foreign exchange when you're importing goods. So this was very much positive steps when we have seen to boost local manufacturing, Make in India. Having said, the fourth item, cryptocurrency, lot of hue and cry in the market. And we were expecting there would be separate bill for cryptocurrency in this Union Budget 2022. But what is being announced? Importantly announced. The first, now RBI going to launch their own digital currency, which would be backed by blockchain technology. So what happened? This crypto token currency, non-fungible tokens available in the market. And we have seen a lot of small investors and medium-sized investors are investing money. And we have seen over a period of time, loss of their investment also, around 6 lakh crore rupees. It is estimated invested in crypto. So what is the way forward? The announcement which is being made in this Union Budget 2022 is there will be 30% income tax on profit made from transfer of digital virtual asset. So this crypto is being considered as a digital virtual asset. So if there is profit and gain, then that would be taxable at the rate of 30%. And there will not be any deduction, any exemption whatsoever. First, whether it is short term or long term, 30% standard is being fixed. Only deduction which is being allowed, cost of acquisition. For understanding sake, let's say you have invested $100 and you're selling at $150. Then there's a profit element which is coming out $50. That would be taxable at the rate of 30%. And that is what being stated in this Union Budget 2022. What happened if there is a loss? There may be a case that you invested $100 and you're selling at a $50. There's a loss. So there will not be any income tax, but simultaneously this loss cannot be adjusted with any other profit, or gain. So you may adjust this loss with your profit from the crypto only. That is what the meaning coming out. So any loss arising from sale of digital virtual asset cannot be adjusted with any other profit or gain, and it cannot be carried forward also to be set off in future years. 30%. Simultaneously, there's 1% TDS is being proposed through to those exchanges through which it is being sold out. So this TDS of 1% need to be deducted. And accordingly, this transaction going to be catch hold by the department. Another hue and cry coming in a market, whether this crypto get legalized by getting this 30% tax under income tax. My answer to all of you would be, it is not getting legalized. Under income tax, you are paying income tax even on lottery, betting and gambling. Is it legalized? That's not a correct way to read that. It is not getting legalized when we talk about crypto. It is only the income tax which is being levied 30% with 1% TDS just to capture the data and get the statistic. How much transactions are being involved when government is expecting around 6 lakh crore rupees only in crypto. So this is the way government is trying to tax this particular item and get an idea that how much transaction, how much worth and value is being involved when we talk about digital virtual asset. It is from income tax perspective. Now, next question will come. What happened for GST? Is there any GST leviable when we talk about crypto? There's no announcement as yet. But crypto is being considered as a digital virtual asset. So it may looks like this is a kind of investment. This is a kind of particular asset class is being created. So when you're selling the asset class, then under GST, the service definition is too wide. Service means anything other than goods. So GST, there is no proposal, but definitely way forward, government going to announce taxability under GST as well. But as on date from union budget, only income tax on gain at the rate of 30% and then 1% TDS. That is what being announced to capture crypto. And when we talk about crypto, it includes everything: coin, token, non-fungible tokens. So that is what the definition of crypto is being provided. Now, next question which is being asked widely, if RBI going to issue digital currency, so what is the importance of this digital currency? Are they going to give up the physical currency which we carry in our hand? My answer to all of you would be that both you will carry your physical currency in paper form or that coin you are carrying. Simultaneously, there would be digital currency sponsored by RBI with safety and security. So if any investor who is asking a question to me, Bimalji, what is the best way? Digital currency, which is now going to be launched by RBI, and there is digital currency in the market, which is not backed by, and it is not legalized. That's what I have said also. To my mind, digital currency issued by RBI is a safe and secure currency, legalized currency, backed by Government of India, as against crypto, which is available in the market. For that, there is no underlying, we do not know where the underlying assets are. We do not know safety and security, though it is being secured through blockchain technology. But issue is who is controlling and checking. And tomorrow, if some loss happen, who would be made accountable and responsible? Comparing a situation when you look at digital currency issued by RBI, which is safe and secure and backed by Government of India. This is on crypto. Coming on GST, what are the changes in GST? Before I move to GST, I would like to highlight two important proposals in Union Budget 2022 from indirect tax perspective. Honourable Finance Minister has talked about SEZ Act. They are going to repeal SEZ Act. For what reason repealing is happening? To provide more inclusion, more coverage, and participation by both central and state. It's a good and laudable steps. There are lot many state infrastructure facility available which can be used for SEZ unit or developer, and in turn it is going to boost our export market and create more job creation. So repealing of SEZ Act with the new SEZ Act which is coming in with more inclusion, with more participation by central and state, definitely going to provide an engine for growth and development, boost our export and create the job. Coming to the next component of indirect tax, as I clearly said, there is rationalization of basic custom duty on raw material input and component for domestic manufacturing. This was the demand of the trade. See, our Honorable Prime Minister was talking about Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India. Just take an example of semiconductor, which is not available, and for that region we have seen the challenge in auto sector and IT sector also. So what happens sometimes the finished product or raw material is not available. Try to understand why it is important to rationalize basic custom duty on raw material input and component. So what Honorable Finance Minister has done, she has announced the rationalization in basic custom duty only for such raw material input and component which is used for local manufacturing. Good one. And with this, we are boosting Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, vocal for local, which is the initiative given by Honorable Prime Minister. So it's a good step. And with this process, local manufacturing will go up, cost competitiveness will come for the region. BCD paid, there is no credit available. So cost competitiveness will come, and simultaneously your import of finished goods will reduce, and to that extent you will save convertible foreign exchange for import of goods, and your balance of trade will also improve overall, and that is what going to help GDP also, which is towards Make in India. When we look at three sector, the three pillar in our economy, agriculture and allied, which is expected to grow by 3.9%. We got IIP, infrastructure, that industry which we are talking about going to grow 11.8%. There was contraction of 7% last year. Economic survey is saying now it is going to grow 11.2%. And service sector, the main sector of GDP, more than 50% of GDP comes from service sector. There was contraction when we look at the last, but now it is being expected to grow by 8.2%. Looking at overall economic survey and the projection which is being given, GDP going to grow by 8.5% and way forward maybe 9.2% is a good idea. And just to give an idea to you that January 2022, Honorable Finance Minister has talked about GST, highest ever collection since inception of GST, since the day GST got introduced in the country, 1,40,000 crore rupees. Just think and imagine if there was not a proper, COVID-19, 2 years we have seen the challenges, and service sector is growing, and we could collect 1,40,000 crore maybe on two count: facilitation given by the government in GST, by compliances, by IT platform, service sector is growing. And second, enforcement. Maybe due to enforcement, they have checked and controlled and got the money collected. But this 1,40,000 crore rupees is giving an idea that even this COVID-19 effects got muted for GDP growth. And that is what we have seen, that month on month GST collection is growing. Not only GST, even income tax collection is growing by 15 to 20%. So that is giving an indication, yes, we are on a right path, growth oriented budget. This could have been populist budget, looking at the election in 5 states, but Honorable Finance Minister has given focus only on growth orientation and making $5 trillion economy by 2025. Now coming on GST changes. What are the important changes in GST announced in Finance Bill 2022? Now, when I'm saying so, it is very important why there will be change in GST when we talk about union budget. Union budget should have made changes only for central excise and custom. But last 4 years we have seen, and this year is also not an exception, that they have brought lot many changes in GST law in the union budget. And this year also we have seen clause 99 to clause 123. There are 24 relevant clauses in finance bill making changes in GST law. So I'm going to highlight some of the important changes in GST which is being proposed in Union Budget 2022. The first one, for a businessman, it is very, very important that there is two important umbrella. One is when he's purchasing goods or services, he must get the credit on purchase of goods or services. And another one is outward supply. So he must pay tax GST on value addition. That is the concept. If I'm purchasing 100 rupees goods or services and paying 18%, then this 18% should be available as a credit to me as a businessman. And when I'm selling at 120 rupees with the value addition of 20%, I'm supposed to pay tax only on value addition 20 rupees. But what is the irony today? The problem today? The problem today is availing ITC with so many condition and restriction. Though it was envisaged in GST law, there will be seamless flow of credit. Preamble of GST law, Constitution 101 Constitution Amendment Act was, there would be seamless flow of credit. But are we really getting seamless flow of credit? Year on year, day by day, I'm finding for availing credit on this 100 rupees, 18%. With so many condition and restriction, it looks like sealing of GST input tax credit, sealing, blockage of GST input tax credit. And that is not a good sign for ease of business. GST got introduced with the vision of good and simple tax. Nothing is happening in this regard. And this is not the right approach. Looks like to me, today even I tweeted one particular comment today, that when seamless flow of credit is not available, then what is the purpose of GST we have brought in the country by naming GST as a good and simple tax? It looks like when there is sealing of GST, ITC, it's better that government may give an option that they may reduce all GST rate and stop ITC, because ultimately, virtually and reality, ITC coming with so many conditions and restrictions, and day by day new conditions are being added. This year budget is also not an exception. And what is the condition and restriction? Listen very carefully. When GST got started, there were 4 conditions to avail credit. 4 conditions to avail credit. What are those 4 conditions? Condition number 1, as a buyer, you should have tax invoice. You should have received goods or services. Your supplier must have paid taxes, either through e-cash ledger or through e-credit ledger. So this is also again burning topic when we look at GST, that you as a buyer and recipient have paid the amount to the supplier, and supplier has not deposited. Who defaulted? Supplier. But credit is being denied in the hands of buyer and recipient. I will tell you on this front as well. And last, you as a buyer must be filing regular GST return. That is what the provision envisaged when GST got started. But what is happening? Let me take you to the last year budget, Union Budget 2021. They have added 5th condition. They have inserted fifth condition along with four condition. What was the fifth condition? That invoice and debit note on which you as a buyer or recipient availing credit, that must be furnished by the supplier in a GSTR1, and it must be communicated to the recipient in GSTR2B. In GSTR2B. So fifth condition, which was proposed in Union Budget 2021, now being notified from 1st January 2022. And fifth condition is saying, Bimal, your invoice and debit note on which buyer is availing credit, that must be furnished by the supplier in a GSTR1, and it must be communicated to the recipient, to the customer in GSTR2B. This fifth condition, effective from 1st January 2022, got notified. So that is not the end of the story. Now they have brought sixth condition. They have brought sixth condition in this Union Budget 2022. And what is this sixth condition? Listen very carefully. Sixth condition, they are saying, when you are availing ITC on the basis of auto-populated details as per outward supply furnished by the supplier in a GSTR1. So this auto-populated details is coming out in your auto-generated statement GSTR2B, should not be restricted. Should not be restricted under Section 38 of CGST Act. So this is the condition. Even though it is coming in your GSTR2B, you can't avail credit. You have to look at six more condition, which is now being prescribed under Section 38. So starting with the fourth condition, adding with the fifth condition of Union Budget 2021, now the sixth condition with the six other condition as per Section 38, not restricted. So look at those restriction under Section 38. If you're falling in any of the restriction, even though credit coming in your 2B, you will not be able to avail the credit. You will not be able to avail the credit. So what are those six restrictions as prescribed under Section 38? Listen very carefully. First, the first condition which they are referring to, and they are saying very crystal clear, Bimal, you have to be clear in this regard. If you are taking new registration, government may specify particular specified period, and for that period credit is not available. So government may introduce a restriction on the new registrant under GST, and they may specify a particular period for which you will not be given credit, even though it is auto-populated in GSTR 2B. First restriction. Second restriction, if your tax on outward supply as per GSTR 1 exceeds tax you paid as per GSTR 3B, and this exceeds the specified limit. So they are saying if tax on outward supply as per GSTR 1 is more than the tax you are paying in GSTR 3B and it is crossing the specified limit, you may be restricted to avail the credit. And that specified limit they are going to notify in future. Third condition, if you are availing credit in GSTR 3B and that is exceeding or more than the credit coming in GSTR 2B and it is crossing the specified limit, so that limit may be 10%, 20% in time to come, they will notify, but they are saying credit availed in 3B more than credit coming in 2B and beyond a specified limit, that may be another restriction for availing credit, even though it is auto-populated in GSTR 2B. Next, you are defaulting in payment of tax and you continue to default in payment of tax for specified period. That may be the reason your credit would be restricted. and default sometime continues for the working capital need. We know that working capital is not available. Sometimes we are raising invoice to our customer. We are not being paid from the customer. We are struggling with the working capital. So I may default in payment of tax for the region of acute financial crunch. But this is another condition now, that if you default in payment of tax and this default continues for a specified period, then you may not be getting your credit, even though auto-populated in GSTR 2B. Coming to the fifth condition, you are having your e-credit ledger. You're having balance in your e-credit ledger. Government may now notify a percentage to be used for e-credit ledger. They will not allow us to use 100%, even though it is my e-credit ledger. So for simple example, if I'm having 100 rupees in my e-credit ledger, am I entitled to utilize the same? Yes, I'm entitled to, but government now can put the restriction that you can use only 99% or 98% or 97%, meaning thereby compulsorily they will say, Bimal, you can use only 99%, 1% you have to pay through e-cash ledger. Is it not? They are, creating more hassle for me. It is not ease of business. And just to draw your attention, Rule 86B, they have introduced on 1st January 2021 rule. And this rule was only referring to that I can use my e-credit ledger only to the extent of 99%, but there was no provision in the act. So to give the backing of that particular rule, which was introduced beyond the provision of law, and lot many writ is being filed in the High Court. Now they are making provision in the law and saying, Bimal, you have to adhere this provision. Any contravention of this provision may liable for restriction for not availing credit, and for the specified class of person, they may restrict availing credit. So having said that, conclusion of this particular change which I'm referring to, what is coming out, that availing ITC in GST becoming a mammoth task, tedious task. First, you have to look at the sixth condition under section 16, subsection 2. And then under section 38, they are putting a restriction, sixth restriction, that even though it is auto-populated in GSTR 2B, but credit is not available. That is what it is coming out. My only humble submission, and I'm sure you all will agree with me, this is not easing business. Is it not contravention of seamless flow of credit, which we have envisaged when GST got introduced? Nothing is happening on those front, and they are putting condition and restriction day by day. And that is the reason on my Twitter account today I posted one tweet, and it is for poll. I'm asking for the poll that it is better you reduce GST rate, asking government to reduce GST rate and take away your ITC. Because you're not working as per the value addition tax. You're putting a restriction and condition and resulting into as if you're not willing to give me GST ITC. And this is not really easing the business. Second change in GST. When GST got started, it was envisaged that there would be automized GST return system. As a supplier, I'm going to file GSTR1 by 10th of next month. This was envisaged. That is going to be auto-populated for my buyer, for my recipient in GSTR 2A. Buyer can then add, modify, and delete, and then finalize GSTR 2 by 15th of next month. And once buyer is adding, modifying, and deleting, then it is getting auto-populated for supplier in GSTR 1A, which need to be either accept or reject by the supplier by 17th of next month. And then by 20th, GSTR 3 was supposed to be filed. They did not. Government did not implement the system. They did not implement the system. And now what they're saying in this Union Budget 2022, and I say irony, I do not know. They thought of they would be bringing this automized return system. What was the bottleneck? Because their GST and common portal was not ready. So they have their own challenges. Since they have not introduced this automized return system, we have seen a lot of tax evader has come out in the market because GSTR 2A was not available until 2019. So a lot of tax evader has come out, raised fake invoices. They have only filed GSTR 1. 2A was not available. Cross-checking and verification was not possible. So who has given this platform? Government has not introduced automized GST return system. That's the reason these tax evader has come on planet. And they started issuing fake invoice by only filing GSTR 1. We only came to know when GSTR 2A came into the picture. So who is accountable and responsible? And why credit is being disputed when there was no system available for the buyer, for the recipient to cross-check and verify? Even today we are struggling, even though credit coming in my 2A or 2B, but I do not know whether supplier has paid the taxes or not. Even if he has paid the taxes, how do I know that my invoice is being included? Nothing is available. Nothing is available. And government day by day changing their concept, and they are creating bottleneck for all of us together. Now what they're saying, Bimal, now two-way communication, supplier filing GSTR 1, coming in two-way, which you can add, modify, delete, all gone. Nothing is doable. Bimal, leave this concept. Now we are changing ourselves. What they're saying, it is only one-way traffic. One-way traffic. Only supplier. Your credit, buyer's credit, recipient credit is dependent upon supplier. Supplier is correctly furnishing outward supply, correctly filing GSTR 1, and timely filing GSTR 1 is the basis way forward for you, for buyer to avail credit. Now your credit is dependent on me, supplier. One-way traffic, two-way communication gone. Over a period of time, they could not implement automized GST return system. The two-way traffic, which was good traffic, sometime when supplier making a mistake, at least you can take provisional credit, and then subsequently it can be amended. That is all gone. They're saying no provisional credit concept. Bimal, we will not give you any credit. Buyer will not get any credit. They will get credit only when Bimal as a supplier correctly furnishing outward supply. Timely. So just think of where we are heading for. And that is what the concept they are changing over a period of time. My only humble submission, is this the way we thought of? Is it called participation by the trade industry and commerce? To my mind, we are not being given any opportunity of participation. So GST, which we envisage as a good and simple tax, please, I'm of the view it is not really going into that direction. I may be little critics today, but that is what the irony all about. You can always say in chat box or questions, that is what the perception coming out. But what is the change they are bringing now? Listen very carefully. Listen very carefully. Before I say what changes they are bringing, let me draw your attention. I do not know how many of you are aware of, but let me tell you, from 1st January 2022, 1st January 2022, I'm not referring union budget. They brought two changes in last year budget, union budget 2021, last year budget. That got notified on 1st January 2022. And what were those two changes? First change under Rule 59, Sub Rule 6. And what was that change? Unless you file GSTR 3B for preceding period, you will not be able to file GSTR 1 for succeeding period. So meaning in simple language, if I have not filed 3B for January, then I will not be able to file GSTR 1 for February. Another change which is introduced as per last year budget from 1st January 2022 is draconian provision. Listen very carefully. My outward supply is only 50,000 rupees, only 50,000. While filing GSTR 1, I made mistake, clerical mistake. As against 50,000, it was made 5 lakh rupees. Just 1 zero got added. 1 zero got added. Clerical mistake on my part. So 5 lakh rupees, I filed my GSTR 1. I do realize I made the mistake. Now, can I really revise my GSTR1? No revision option. There is no revision option in GST. So, knowing the fact that I have wrongly furnished my GSTR1, I can't revise. It can only be amended in subsequent month. That is what the position as on date. I'm filing GSTR 3B for this relevant tax period. I will pay the liability. Liability would be paid only on 50,000. It will not be on 5 lakh rupees because I know my actual liability on 50,000 rupees. So there is difference of 4 lakh 50,000 rupees. What happened to that? An explanation got inserted under section 75 subsection 12 of CGST Act effective from 1st January 2022. What it is saying, Bimal, it is going to be self-assessment tax, and that can be recovered by the department even without issuance of so-called notice. Just look at the irony. Rather, they should have said, Bimal, okay, you made mistake. It may be clerical. It may not be clerical. I know why these provisions are being brought. These provisions are being brought keeping in mind if I'm filing GSTR1 and passing on the credit to my buyer, but not paying corresponding taxes. These provisions are meant for against those tax evader. These are deterrent provision against the tax evader. But what happened? These provisions would be used by ground level GST officer against the genuine and honest taxpayer. And that is going to create the problem. See, you are making provision as a deterrent against the tax evader, but it is being used against genuine and honest taxpayer. So, two changes last year introduced from 1st January 2022. As per me, they could have said, Bimal, I have given 6 months time to you. Kindly correct your mistake of GSTR1 and reconcile with GSTR 3B. No, nothing. They only want to make deterrent provision looking at the tax evader. They can't assume everyone is tax evader in this country. Otherwise, we will not be able to do business. That's what the problem all about. Now, what two changes they have brought in this Union Budget 2022? GST looks like never ending. What we are learning from last year budget got introduced from 1st January 2022 is not the end of the story. They keep on changing the things in such a way, businessmen will start saying, oh, how much to learn, where to learn, and how we can really do business. Do we supposed to do GST practice? Or we have to do the business? Really, it is not helping Indian businessmen. It is not helping. And just think of small businessmen, small service provider, small businessman. He is only wanted to do run business, and that's the reason those who are out of GST, they wanted to remain out of GST. They're not willing to come into GST. Once you come into GST, then you would be on radar. That's the reason they are not being able to widen their tax base. And that's the problem all about. But nevertheless, listen to changes which they are bringing in this Union Budget 2022. What are those changes? First of all, they have said no provisional credit. It is one-way traffic now, two-way communication gone. And now they are saying, Bimal, under section 37, which is GSTR1, and they are categorically saying now, unless you file GSTR1 for the preceding tax period, you will not be able to file GSTR1 thereafter. For simple language, if you are filing GSTR1 for January 2022, then you have to make sure you have filed your GSTR1 till December 2021. One way, this is a good provision that we have to complete the backlog of the previous period, and then it will be allowed for the succeeding period. Quite obvious, when you're a buyer, you want to see your credit in your 2A or 2B. So unless it is being filed by the supplier in GSTR1, it is not going to be auto-populated for you in GSTR2B. So good from this aspect. Another good part they have done in under section 37H, if there is any omission and error in your GSTR1, you can amend the same. That is permissible. Earlier, it was till September of next financial year for filing GSTR 3B. Now they have said it is now being extended to 30th November of next financial year. So laudable one. They are saying any omission and error in GSTR1 can be amended and period allowed 30th November of next financial year. Good part. Coming to section 39. Section 39 first change, and listen very carefully, they are saying, Bimal, unless you file GSTR1 or a particular relevant tax period, unless you file GSTR1 of a particular relevant tax period, you will not be able to file GSTR3B of that relevant tax period. So compulsorily, you have to first file GSTR1 and then GSTR3B. So this is a good one, good one. And only thing which is coming out, if there is any difference in GSTR1 and 3B, then that is self-assessment tax, and there is restriction also that you can't avail credit. So lot of provision need to be read in holistic way so that you get the correct meaning out of it. And second, even GSTR 3B, sometimes we make mistake or there's omission. If there's omission or mistake in GSTR 3B, now laudable one, they have increased the time period till 30th November of next financial year. And two more changes they have drawn under section 39, which is for QRMP. Those who are quarterly return filer and monthly payment. Government now wanted either you pay self-assessment tax or government will specify a certain amount to be paid. And for non-resident taxable person, due date is now 13th of next month as against 20th of next month. This is for the return filing. And please, what is coming out? That one-way traffic, suppliers need to be tax compliant. He should be knowing what is the GST law. He should be furnishing outward supply correctly and timely so that you get the credit. So the thrust is know your supplier. That is what the way forward it is coming out. Know your supplier. And that's what they're talking about as a way forward. Two-way communication gone. Coming to the trade facilitation, certain good measure, which you must know they have done in this Union Budget 2022. So when I'm critics, I'm also appreciating and lauding their decision. And there are these changes, which is a really laudable one. What are those trade facilitation measure? Listen very carefully. Time limit to avail credit. Time limit to avail credit under section 16, subsection 4. What is the time limit to avail credit for any particular financial year? If you want to avail credit, what is the time provided under GST law? Due date of furnishing GSTR 3B of September of next financial year. So that is virtually 20th October of next financial year. Now this is being extended to 30th November of next financial year. Laudable one. Just one correction and one information I want to do with all of you. And you may try out by yourself answer of this query. The invoice, let's say, raised on 1st January 2020, pertaining to financial year 1920. Now you're raising debit note pertaining to that invoice. Maybe you have not charged correctly or your value was not correct. So you're raising debit note today on 4th of February 2022. My only simple question to all of you, to determine time limit provision as per section 16, subsection 4, do you look at the date of debit note today, 4th February 2022, or you're going to look at the date of original invoice, 1st January 2020? In my humble submission, you will look at the date of debit note. Irrespective of it is for underlying invoice, original invoice, to determine time limit to avail credit. First, facilitation. Second, for issuance of credit note, there was time limit under section 34, subsection 2. And what was the time? September of next financial year. So for any particular financial year, if you're issuing a credit note, then the time limit prescribed by September of next financial year. Laudable one, trade facilitation, it is now made 30th November of next financial year. So time is increased. Well done. Appreciating. But one more clarity to you, to all of you. That the credit note under GST for this time limit is now 30th November of next financial year. Good. But what happened when credit note is being issued under GST? Time limit is increased. If I'm issuing a credit note being supplier, I will get adjustment of GST charge on credit note with my output tax, and corresponding ITC need to be reversed by the buyer. This is what the provision. I'm asking another question to you. Can I issue financial credit note or commercial credit note, which is outside GST? And why I would be interested to issue financial credit note and commercial credit note? For simple reason that there is no time limit, no corresponding adjustment of GST to be done with my output tax, and no corresponding reversal of ITC by the recipient. Can I really issue financial credit note or commercial credit note? My answer to all of you would be that we can very well issue financial credit note and commercial credit note. And once I'm issuing financial credit note and commercial credit note, then I need not require to report such financial credit note or commercial credit note in GSTR1. So credit note under GST, time limit increased, but still we can continue to issue financial credit note and commercial credit note. Coming back to next change, and which is again giving a time limit extension for GSTR 8 for e-commerce operator for tax collection at source. When they are filing GSTR 8, any kind of omission and error can be amended by 30th November of next financial year. 30th November of next financial year. Next important aspect, and which you must know as a trade facilitation, and that is for you to really understand. I am GST registered, let's assume, and I have deposited some money in my particular head that can be IGST, but I need to pay CGST, SGST, or UTGST or cess. So that may be a case, it may be vice versa also. So interchangeable, can I really move money which is deposited under IGST for CGST or SGST or UTGST? Permissible. So you need not require to deposit separately in each bucket. It can be interchangeable under same registration number. First part. Second part, and this is the important aspect. Let's say I'm having two registration, one in Delhi, one in Tamil Nadu, under same PAN number. So let's say I've deposited some money in my IGST e-cash ledger of Delhi, but I got the liability of IGST in Tamil Nadu. So I got liability in Tamil Nadu, but I got money, surplus money lying in my e-cash ledger of IGST of Delhi registration. So this is called distinct person under same PAN number. So what is the option available to us? That we can take refund from Delhi and again deposit in the Tamil Nadu. They said, okay, don't do that. You can transfer this e-cash ledger balance of IGST from Delhi to Tamil Nadu. So that no need of taking refund from Delhi and depositing in Tamil Nadu. It can be transferred. But this is only permissible for IGST and CGST. They are not giving this facility for SGST and UTGST. Maybe for the region because that is the state purview, and taking care of the account with the state may be difficult. So they have only allowed transfer of e-cash ledger of IGST and CGST, which is under central government, from one distinct person to another distinct person. To certain extent, it is laudable decision. Next, trade facilitation. Very good, Major, and you must listen this aspect. You have wrongly availed the credit. Sometimes happen that we may have availed wrong credit. So if wrong credit availed, option is reverse. So there are two ways. One, you are reversing before utilization, and one, you are reversing after utilization. So once you are reversing after utilization, it means you have used that wrongly availed credit. Then there would be chargeability of interest at the rate of 18%. But question watch, which was demanded by trade industry and commerce as a trade facilitation measure, question watch, I have wrongly availed the credit but not utilized. Now I'm reversing. Do I require to pay interest? Laudable one. They have said no interest. And that too retrospectively from 1st July 2017. No interest if credit wrongly availed but not utilized. And even rate of interest they have now liberalized, I will say rationalized from 24% to 18%. So very good and laudable trade facilitation measure. But two questions still remain. What happened if I paid the interest which I was not supposed to pay, because this law is being introduced with retrospective date 1st July 2017? And what happened if I paid 24%, but now it is only 18% rate of interest? Will I get the refund? Yes, we will get the refund. And that is permissible. Another trade facilitation measure. Come back to section 54. 54. And under 54, what is the facilitation they are giving? Listen very carefully. The facilitation which they are giving, refund from e-cash ledger, which was not specifically provided under section 54, now they have specifically provided under section 54 for getting refund of e-cash ledger lying surplus and you're not being able to utilize the same. Apart from transfer of IGST and CGST for distinct person, which I've said to you. Second, when you're supplying to SEZ unit or developer, it is zero-rated supply. It is called zero-rated supply. For claiming refund, now they have inserted explanation and they have said it is 2 years. And relevant date would be due date of furnishing GSTR 3B in the hands of supplier who is supplying to SEZ unit or developer. And they can claim refund on a pretext of zero-rated supply. Third change which they have done for refund in the hands of specialized UN bodies and assembly. Okay. So there, we will definitely do, Sami. Allow me to complete first, and then we will start with the question answer session. Don't worry about that. So even UN body and specialized embassy, they are supposed to get refund, and there are 2 years period now prescribed as against 6 months from the last date of the quarter where they have received the supply. It is section 54, but one alarming provision under section 54H, alarming provision under section 54H, that they can withhold my refund and even the refund which is available to me for any unpaid liability. They have made this provision wider, and they can withhold and they can really recover from my refund amount any unpaid liabilities. Having said that, there are two important changes, and then we will sum up today's presentation and then start with the question answer session. Under section 16, subsection 2, clause C, this you must listen. You as a buyer and recipient in Tamil Nadu, you purchased from me 10 lakh, 18% IGST, you paid the amount to me. I did not deposit with the government exchequer. Since I have not deposited, credit is being denied in your hands. They are not giving credit in your hands. They are saying credit is not available because of section 16, subsection 2, clause C provision of CGST Act. Now, what they have done, this Union Budget 2022, what they have done, under section 41, which is now substituted, and they are saying, Bimal, whatever GST not paid by your supplier, you as a buyer a recipient have to reverse that credit, and that too along with interest. And interest rate would be 18% per annum. You can reavail this credit whenever it is paid by the supplier. This is they have introduced now in this Union Budget 2022. My certain questions, my certain observation. When GST department has given registration to both of us, and they know Bimal is the defaulter one as a supplier, instead of demanding reversal from recipient, from the buyer, they could have, catch hold of me, Bimal Jain, and could have collected this money. They're passing the buck. They're passing their responsibility on customer to chase the supplier to get it paid. First part. They're just with other way route, they're passing their responsibility on customer, recipient, and buyer to chase the supplier and get the money paid. Again, you should know your supplier. There's no provisional credit concept. If I go back to pre-GST era, similar question was there where the credit can be denied for the buyer, recipient, bona fide buyer and recipient for default of supplier of non-payment of taxes. The Supreme Court judgment, KK Industries, maximum High Court, all the High Court I must say from the India, they have said credit can't be denied under VAT regime, including Delhi High Court, except Bombay High Court, Mahakottan Lakshmi case. Even in GST, we got Tamil Nadu, Madras High Court judgment, DY Bethel Enterprises. And in that judgment, it is being held. You can't ask buyer to pay, reverse this credit, unless you take action against the defaulting supplier. In GST, what government is doing, through substituted provision under section 41, they want to enter into backdoor. And tomorrow, lot many writ petition which has gone to High Court, they are going to plead before the High Court, my lord, this money is not being deposited, hence we are not giving credit. But look at the their angle of getting this provision inserted. They are saying we will not go to supplier. We will not go to supplier. Rather, customer will go to supplier and make sure he will talk to supplier and supplier get it deposited. Supplier get it deposited, then only you will get the credit. So what they are going to argue before the court, they will say, my lord, since I have not received the money, I'm not giving any credit. That's the reason I'm demanding reversal along with interest. So whenever supplier pays, we will give the credit to them. But they're not saying that they're passing their act, they're passing their responsibility to the customer. Why they will not take action against the defaulting supplier? When the defaulting supplier is not known to them, they have given the registration. Why they will not take the responsibility? And interest, 18% per annum. So you can reavail the credit, no problem, but interest is a cost. 18%. 18% rate of interest is a too high a rate of interest. When we look at working capital loan in the market, as on date, it is maybe 10%, 11%, 9%. As against that, this 18% is too high a rate. And my suggestion was there with the government as well. Sir, when I'm delaying in payment of tax, you're charging 18%. But when I'm supposed to get refund, first of all, I'm not getting refund on time. And second, when I'm supposed to get interest comes rarely, and that too rate of interest is only 6% per annum, as against 18% per annum. If you really want taxpayer to pay 18%, you should also pay 18%. Why 6%? Which I'm not getting. I'm getting rarely. But these are unease of business. Two more changes, and then we will sum up today's webinar and start with the question answer session. For license fee, which is being charged by state government for supply of alcoholic liquor, GST leviable or not leviable? Big dispute was there. It was stated in the past that it is neither a supply of goods nor supply of services. It was stated like that. Now, with retrospective date from 1st July 2017, they have said it is a state subject matter. It is neither a supply of goods nor supply of services in GST, no GST leviable, laudable one. But what is the, pointer, fine print? if you have paid GST, assuming that it is taxable, then no refund would be permissible. No refund would be permissible. And second, retrospective, exemption which is being granted when you are generating unintended waste from fish meal, from production of fish meal, except fish oil. Retrospective exemption is being granted from 1st July 2017 to 30th September 2019. And with a condition, if you have deposited some money, no refund. No refund would be permissible. And these are the changes coming out from the GST. Broadly, these changes which I wanted to refer before you, but there are two more changes are left out. Maybe quickly I can sum up those changes and then we will start question answer. Cancellation of GST number. Proper officer can cancel GST number, right? Under section 29, subsection 2, clause B and clause C, for composition dealer, provision was if composition dealer has not filed consecutive 3 tax period return, proper officer may cancel his GST number. But now that is being amended, and they're saying if you fail to file within 3 months return for financial year from the due date, and second, for the normal taxpayer, it was continuous 6 months deleted. Now they're saying for specified tax period. So if you have not filed your return for continuous 6 months, this was the provision before. Now it would be for a specified period. So looks like government will reduce this time period from 6 months to 3 months or 2 months. So they wanted us to file a return on time. Otherwise, that may be the reason for initiating cancellation of GST number. So this is the last change from GST perspective. Let me summarize my presentation today. On individual front, we are little dissatisfied. Honourable Finance Minister could have given certain benefit to us, which was not made available, because the Honourable Finance Minister has focused on growth orientation, targeting GDP growth, making $5 trillion economy by 2025. These are the target. She could have given populist budget, but highly appreciated she has not given populist budget, even though there is election, state election in the 5 states. But way forward, if you look at from manufacturing unit perspective, 1 year got extended from 31st March 23 to 31st March 2024. Startup, the exemption of 3 years, which was supposed to be 31st March 2022, it is now extended to 31st March 23. For boost Make in India to MSME sector, rationalization of basic custom duty. SEZ Act going to be repealed with the more inclusion, more coverage, and participation of central and state, boosting export market, and an engine for growth and development, including job creation, and GST related changes, which I have just narrated before you. Let me say one word. GST, we thought good and simple tax, and that was we expected. But somewhat the ease of business which we thought of is not coming out. My only humble submission to the government would be that kindly make GST realistically applicable as we thought of, as we planned, as we said, as we envisaged that GST is going to be good and simple tax. So that is all from my side, from changes, important changes from income tax and indirect tax and GST for Indian businesses. Thank you very much. I'm open for answering the questions. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, Mr. Bimal Yes, you are audible. We can take the questions up. All the questions are present in the question and answer tab, and you can just project that question and answer it.
Okay. There's some Surya Bhan. He's
Yes.
asking, sir, we will import new machine for manufacturing of mute ball. Okay. We can register new company for concession tax rate 15%. Now this is being increased so that you can really register and start your manufacturing till 31st March 2024. Yes, benefit would be available to you. That would be my answer to you. Okay. Coming to Dixit, and he's asking, sir, can we switch to old regime of tax if we have filed in a new regime in previous financial year? Dixit, once switched, it is not permissible. That is what the provision as on date. Rupinder Singh, whether export-oriented unit can be covered under startup plans to avail a government benefit. See, Rupinder, you can always, provided it is within the definition of startup. So existing unit cannot be, to my mind. It is new unit and within the startup definition, then you can avail the benefit. Coming to Ankita Bhaskara, and her question is, why has such harsh tax structure been made for crypto or digital virtual asset? Ankita, for the region, which looks like to me that as on date, this crypto which is available in the market, there is no surety, safety, and where is the underlying asset? How this need to be protected? What is the legal mechanism to control and check and provide the safety and security for the small investors? Even government is not aware of how much money and transaction value involved. It is estimated only 6 lakh crore rupees. So they have said 30%. But of course, Ankita, I will go with you. They could have made it 20% at par with a long-term capital gain. That would have been right approach. But just think of, they may have GST implication as well, which is not being announced in this budget. So let's wait and watch. Coming to Saurabh Mahajan, sir, what could be the cost of acquisition of NFT? This is a piece of art made by a person. So, Saurabh, the cost of acquisition would be depending on your cost involved or whatever you have built up. Let's say sometime when you are building up something by technology, by creation, by certain literature, that may be the cost of acquisition, so which you have to determine. That's what the answer coming out. So next question said, does sell and purchase of currency is goods? It is not goods. GST should be applicable. See, I've told you that from GST perspective, they have not sounded anything. They have not said for the crypto whether that is going to be currency. See, other than the digital currency issued by RBI, there is no legalized currency. So whether that would be supply of goods or services, I've told you that service definition is too wide a definition. The service means anything other than goods. So it depends what treatment they provide. But what they have said under income tax, digital virtual asset. Asset. They're saying asset. To my mind, they are going to say this is similar kind of investment which is being done at par with equity shares, mutual fund investment, or that may be lottery, betting, like kind of stuff. Let them come and then we will take it forward. Okay, next. Shall I move?
Sir, yes.
Okay, next question which is coming out by Mohan Kumar. How for 86B rule ITC only 99% control as per new notification? with effect from 1st January 2022? Please clarify. Mr. Mohan Kumar, this Rule 86B got introduced from 1st January 2021, not 1st January 2022. And as per Rule 86B, there's a limitation that you can use your e-credit ledger only to the extent of 99%. This was the rule, and we were all debating how come rule is being made without having provision in the Act. Now, they have brought the provision under Section 49 to give backing to this rule. But having this provision in the Act, now they are being authorized. They can make any percentage. They may reduce even from 99% to 98 or 97%. Priyanka is asking currency will be included in service, GST will be applicable. So Priyanka is giving apprehension that it will be included crypto. For crypto only, Priyanka is answering that that would be included in service, GST will be applicable. Looks like to me, yes. Now, Yogesh Mittal is saying, sir, restriction in section 38, all those conditions are on the default of supplier or recipient. Means if any or all of the condition are met by the supplier, then recipient can't take ITC in respect of supply received from that supplier. Looks like to me, yes, that's what Yogesh meaning is coming out. Rohan is saying what SOP can be implemented in our organization so that vendor supplier pay GST after being reflected in GSTR 2A. So GSTR 2A as such no relevance. It is only GSTR 2B they are referring to. So this SOP which you are referring to my mind, looks like, and listen very carefully. Henceforth, you need to do due diligence of your supplier. You need to get his PAN number, you need to get his Aadhaar card, you need to get complete details, address with photograph, signature, and everything, and maybe test check of their registered premises. Test check, though government is doing, but since you wanted me to reply, Rohan, you can also have a test check of certain supplier. And once they pass through this particular requisite information and details which I narrated to you, then he should be allowed as a approved vendor in your company for supply. And you need to keep under close watch. Month on month basis, you should have MIS prepared pertaining to your vendor and suppliers account, whether they are really filing their GSTR1 on time and that too correctly, so that you're not missing out any credit. And way forward, yesterday I was interacting with the top sort of CBIC and CBIC officials. I'm being told way forward they are implementing a system that invoice which is raised by the supplier included in a GSTR1, whether paid or not paid, invoice wise, they are going to create the data now for the recipient. And recipient can check such data invoice wise, which is furnished by the supplier in GSTR1 and paid by the supplier through GSTR3B. So maybe that would be the better approach. But what happened for the past period, we are all under debate and litigation. Lavina Jain, in bill of entry for import of goods, we pay IGST along with other import duties. We can take credit of IGST, but it is not auto-populated in 2B. In these cases, should we take the credit or not? Lavina, yes, you must take the credit, and that's what we are sounding to the government. You're saying my credit is dependent on auto-populated in GSTR 2B, but there may be lot many other items which is not getting auto-populated. It may be bill of entry, import. It may be import of services when you pay reverse charge liability. It may be reverse charge liability when you procure from unregistered supplier. So we are saying that you have provision of 2B, but still 2B should be editable till the time it is auto-populated. So you are right, and you must avail the credit and let them come out with a specified limit, and they must consider these components for deciding and notifying specified limit. So then Yogesh Mittal once again saying invoice of December 21 also coming in 2B. But recipient booked the invoice in January 21, going to claim the ITC in 3B as it is showing in 2B. Question is whether ITC difference between 3B and 2B will rise because of previous month invoice in January 1. Yes, Yogesh, it will happen. And it may happen also that invoice raised in a previous month, supply started in previous month but received in subsequent month. So credit is available only when you receive the goods. So you need to satisfy all the condition, and there will always be differences as per my view. when you credit avail in 3B versus 2B, and for number of region which we are discussing, bill of entry for import of goods, when you pay RCM GST liability. So those are the pointers I'm telling you. Anil Jha, we are importing the goods and pay custom duty with IGST, but this is, I have already answered. Yes, credit would be available. Sunanda, ITC available criteria for new register or auto suo moto cancel revocation. So ITC available criteria for new registration, if you go back to the provision that if you take registration from 30 days, from date you're liable to take a registration, you can take credit for 1 year. But with the new restriction coming in under section 38, it is creating a problem in the minds of all of us together, that what kind of provision they are bringing and why they are going to stop specified period when we take new registration. 13th or 30th of next month from 28th. It says 13th, Sneha, for GSTR 5 under section 39 for non-resident taxable person, 13th, 1-3. Dixit is asking, can we avail IGST paid on import? If I've told you, yes, it is available, Dixit. Tanay, can we avail IGST paid on import? Yes, it is available, no problem. Priyanka, sir, how can we check ITC avail but not utilize? Portal showing aggregate amount only. It is only from your internal data. They can't check, but otherwise, whatever coming in the e-credit ledger, and if that is getting reduced over a period of time, then it is coming out, it is being utilized. The only problem will remain whether this is the ITC of that relevant period where you avail, or that is the ITC which is keep continuing on recurring basis and there's no difference coming out. So your internal data are going to help Priyanka to justify how much you have utilized of ITC wrongly availed. Nagendra, are all these amendments applicable for financial year 22-23? Nagendra, not yet. First, they are going to pass Finance Bill 2022 and then they are going to notify the same. So it is not like that it is starting from financial year 22-23. Charges changes with effect from financial year. Priyanka, I've told you that this is not for changes from financial year 22-23. From GST perspective, as I told you, and again answering you, that first finance will get passed, then they will notify. So a lot of changes which was done in finance bill 2021 got notified only from 1st January 2022. On similar line, they will notify accordingly. Okay, Parimal Patel. Okay. Arvind Kumar, are we getting the ITC at the rate of 18%, but in outward sales tax applicable 3%? Can we get refund of excess? Yes, you can always get a refund under inverted duty structure unless you are being barred. So ID inverted duty structure refund is permissible to you. Yogesh Mittal, I've responded to your this particular query. Binod, many times credit of import that I've responded to this particular simple explanation of all GSTR types. All right. So I've suggested that today we are filing only GSTR 1 and our credit gets auto-populated in 2B to be cross-checked and verified for availing credit in GSTR 3B. Only 3 return. There are 2 statements, GSTR 1 and GSTR 2B, and 3B is the only return which we are filing for the outward supply and availing credit. Yogesh sir, restriction in section 38, all those conditions are on the default. I've responded back to you, Yogesh, on this point. Devasis, does aggregate turnover include value of inward supplies received on which RCM is payable? No, dear. I'm going to previous back. See, when you're talking about for registration purpose and you're paying under RCM, then that will continue to be, in the hands of that provider who is supplying. Bojanki, sir, I think we can choose old tax regime in calendar year. We choose new one in last year. I think option can be available for each individual year. Please clarify. Bojanki, this is what to my mind, I'm not at the moment sure about it, what you're saying so, but once you opted for new system, you need to follow with the new system only. Rahul ji, RBI digital currency going to be introduced soon. Will it have any good or bad impact on the GST regime? To my mind, no, because it is digitization which we are all are talking about. So this RBI digital currency is safe and secured, backed by Government of India, will provide the safety and security. To my mind, it will not create any bad impact, except when we talk about the crypto, which is outside, official digital currency by RBI. Okay, responded. Rahul, GST portal rates, GST registered business in terms of regulate compliances. See, they have talked about they are going to give the rating to the GST registered person, but it is not yet started. Why only this rating to the taxpayer? Why not rating to the tax officer? They can also go for rating of tax officer as well, because lot of things they are not doing on time. So who is going to rate them? You're going means it is quite possible that you can always talk about rating taxpayer. For me, my submission would be even government officers should be rated. Okay, Rupinder Singh, we deposit the November month cash sale towards supply in month of January, then interest liability will be attracted. Of course, if it is November sale paying in January, Rupinder, tax liability exists. If IGST on import is not shown, you can always avail, which I told you. You can always amend and avail the credit. I'm dealing with both GST and exempted goods. Can I take ITC for capital expenditure? If I can, how much? It is in terms of Rule 43 when you talk about the capital expenditure. So there are input services and capital goods. You need to bifurcate pro rata to the extent of taxable supplies. Credit is available to you. Rohan Shah, common ITC have to reverse against high C sale, which is before amendment. To my mind, you need not require to reverse, Rohan. It is neither a supply of goods nor supply of services, and a specific provision under section 17, subsection 3, you need not require to reverse. So what is the difference? I do not understand in what context you're asking this. Akshat, if we have to give supply to SEZ, paid IGST on that, now we have to file or for refund, but application got rejected with no reason. What is the solution? Since it is got rejected, now rejection order is being passed, you need to file appeal. That's what it is coming out, Akshat. But these are the things happening in the trade and not giving ease of business. What is the difference between 2A and 2B? 2A is the dynamic statement and 2B is the static statement for credit auto-populated. So 2B is made more authenticated for availing credit. Anthony, regarding cancellation of registration of composition dealer if return not filed, does it mean filing of GSTR 4? To my mind, GSTR 4 annual return, not the quarterly which we are talking about. Way forward. Okay, this is also I've answered. Missed out ITC availed of September 21, but for the month of September, file belated. No, even filing return belated does not mean that you will get the credit. It is due date which is being referred under section 16, subsection 4 for furnishing return under section 39 GSTR 3B. It is not belated filing. It is a due date of return filing. So my view is very clear. This credit is not available. We are purchasing domestic and sales export. How we can receive the ITC? You avail the credit of domestic purchases. There's no one stopping you. And when you're exporting the same, claim the refund of the same. There's a merchandise export also available, which can be at 0.1%. Thereby, ITC accumulation can be reduced at your end when you are a merchant exporter. How do you remember rule number also? Give a suggestion to Venkatesh. This is all passion all about. When you love something, you remember everything. Nagendra, updated 2A for 1718 as on 20th October 21 is more than what was shown in GSTR 9 filed on 7th of February 2020 when compared to the ITC claimed in GSTR. Can we ask the department to consider? So they are not answerable for anything. They are making us answerable. That is the irony of unease of business. If we export service without GST, we pay GST on expenses. Can we avail credit? Yes, Mr. Reddy, that is available. You can always claim under LUT mode for input and input services. Surya, sir, we will import new machine I have already answered this one. Dixit, can we switch? Answered. Rupinder, export oriented unit, given the answer. Only RBI digital currency, okay. And other cryptocurrency will continue, Rupinder, but the only thing is that they will not be legalized. They will not be legal currency. That is the answer. So last question from my side, and Ankita is asking why has such harsh tax structure has been made for crypto or digital virtual asset. Ankita, I responded back to you. So with this, I'm through with all the question which is being posted in question answers. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much for watching this webinar and posting your queries. All the queries, whatever you posted, I responded back. Hope you are happy and satisfied. You got the answers of your query. Maybe you can put some your comment in the chat box so that I get a clarity. Yes, that you are happily got the queries answered, and that's what my objective was. And we have tried our best to give changes which has come in union budget. So your feedback, your input is definitely good. I have tried my best to the best of your understanding. I could deliver this changes in union budget 2022. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for giving such a detailed analysis on the Union Budget 2022. And thank you for all the customers to join the webinar. We kind of stretched the session a little bit, but we hope the additional information and the whole session was beneficial for you all. So we'll be sharing the video of the webinar to all our attendees in the next 2 3 business days. And if you need to reach out to us, you can drop an email at support.india@zohobooks.com. You can see the email ID on the screen. And we are also available on Twitter and Instagram. So feel free to use the hashtag Union Budget 2022 and Zoho Books to share your views.
Just
So
one
again,
thing.
thank you so much,
Just,
sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
just one thing. I will also provide you the background material
Yeah.
for changes in union budget, direct taxes, indirect taxes, and GST.
Yes.
That background material can also be shared with all the participants joining
Yes.
today, or it may be uploaded on your platform for their download, and they can really see the changes which is being suggested in union budget 2022.
Yes, sir. Sure. That will be really beneficial. So we've got a bonus material as well right here. So that's really great. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you.